remember.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh, I remember.
I loved
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Some of you may be too young to remember that Sonic the Hedgehog was originally a video game character. That's right, before he was just a living meme being passed around on social media, there were actual games built around the Sonic character, and his classic roster of friends. Tails Prower, Knuckles, Boobs the Bat, and Hot Topic the Hedgehog. Not only that, but he was positioned as Sega's featured mascot to combat Nintendo's Mario during the early console wars. Yeah, kinda like when people scream and shout like little children about their favorite games and consoles today, there were people doing that about Sonic and Mario in the 90s. So, what happened? Well, while characters like Mario evolved seemingly with ease in the generations to come, Sonic had a tough time after his earlier releases. Things pretty much went downhill as soon as the blue blur made the jump to 3D, and it also didn't help that Sega as a company quickly fell out of the console wars soon after that. I know a lot of you may have the nostalgia feels for the Sonic Adventure games, etc. Oh, did you play Sonic Adventure 2 Battle for the Nintendo GameCube? Yeah, I did, so there you go, I saved you a comment. But yeah, as we left the 90s, things quickly took a turn for the worst for the fastest thing alive, causing Sega to pretty much throw everything they had at the wall trying to get Sonic back to relevancy, including but not limited to turning him into a werewolf, giving him a sword, and having him make out with a little girl who may or may not have been like a healer from Final Fantasy. Speaking of which, I should mention that Sonic 06 was horrible. Let's talk about how awful Sonic 06 was. Have you heard of this game? It was really bad. I make fun of Sonic 06, so you know I am true hip gamer. Sonic 06, even though Sonic was having a rough go of it for many years, for myself and many others, Sonic Generations was sort of a turning point for the franchise, where the Sonic team brought back the original incarnation of Sonic to team up with modern-day Sonic, and it was a real wake-up call about how much better the older games were. If you're unfamiliar, the game is sort of a greatest hits of Sonic levels, but each one has a 2D version as well as a 3D. For me, I loved playing the 2D levels, and the 3D ones felt more like a chore to get to the 2D ones. Even as characters, the old school Sonic is a cute little chub, and the modern Sonic is a total narcissist who is annoying as hell. But yeah, this game really rekindled that love I had for Sonic in the 90s. They went on to make a few more 3D Sonics, no one cared, and that brings us to today. Sonic Mania. I guess it's true what they say, guys. You live and learn. After so many failures, Sonic has been stripped down to the core, gone back to the basics. At first glance, you can easily see this game looks almost identical to the original Genesis titles. Some of the old levels are even recreated with new twists. Everything from the visuals to the gameplay to the audio, it all fits in with that classic Sonic feel. Now, some of you who follow me may think I'm going to criticize this a bit for mostly rehashing old stuff rather than going a new route, but I'm not. For one, we haven't seen Sonic like this in a long time. This isn't Call of Duty where we're seeing the same thing every year. Sure, there have been some side-scrollers fairly recently, but nothing like this and not nearly as well done. The game does add some new elements, things that weren't really possible or could be done well at least in the old days, and I will argue that this game has the best assortment of boss battles out of the entire franchise. But most importantly, this is exactly what Sonic needed, to go back to what worked. Again, after so many blunders, it only made sense to get back to basics, and what this has done is prove that the Sonic formula still works. This is a fantastic game. Sure, a lot has gone into tickling gamers' nostalgia bone, but it goes way beyond that. We didn't have nostalgia for Sonic when the games first released. Sonic took off and became a mega success on the level of Mario because the games kicked ass. You can hand Sonic Mania to someone who's never played a Sonic game before and they will enjoy it. That's the only thing that matters when it comes to making something that goes beyond just a nostalgia cash-in. So clearly, I love the game. We can do all the cliches, it's a return to form, Sonic is back, whatever. But here's the thing, it shouldn't stop here. Sonic has turned back the clock. From what I've seen early on, the reception has been great all around. But now that you tore everything down, it's time to build up again. We know Sonic's gameplay is still a blast, but How do we advance it? How do we evolve beyond the core gameplay concept? Now, before I go any further, I don't want to totally discredit Sonic Forces, the next Sonic game set to be released. Maybe that game will turn out to be equally as amazing. But I have to be honest, I have my doubts. Going forward, I think Sega needs to focus on how they build the franchise while keeping these basic concepts that made it so great. It goes beyond just gotta go fast. Anyone who actually plays these games knows there's a good amount of taking your time in really solid platforming. If you try to just zip around the level, you're likely to end up dead real quick. And I think that's something that got lost in a lot of the newer games. It almost felt like you were on rails much of the time. Just my thoughts. And even though I've kind of put the 3D Sonics on blast in this video, I do want to see the series go beyond 2D and be successful. I think it can be done. There's been certain times that it was better than others. Maybe we should be focusing on getting a combination of the 2D and 3D done right, kind of like Generations or Sonic Colors, I think was another Sonic game that did the 3D stuff pretty well, but it was kind of a combination of 2D and 3D. Essentially, I would just love to see them cranking out AAA $60 Sonic games that are as good and being received as well as Sonic Mania has. So yeah, again, I think this game is awesome. At 20 bucks, it's a no-brainer. That's another thing you often see me complain about, is that a lot of these downloadable and indie titles I think are too expensive. Not the case at all here. This one is totally worth the price of admission. And in closing, I can't stress it enough, I just don't want this to be a one-off. I hope we see more layers added to this, and sure, Sonic probably is never going to reach that level of notoriety that he had in the 90s, but he certainly deserves to be treated as more than just a meme. And with that, this video's a wrap. Let me know your thoughts on Sonic Mania and how you'd like to see Sonic progress into the future in the comments. As always, I'm Zaccari, and thanks for watching.